Good morning. Today I'm going to take a little day trip to the east of the Netherlands. I'll be visiting two cities that I've never been to before, and it's the perfect day to do some sightseeing in my own country. Weather here is so unpredictable, it's always really hard to pick the right jacket, but I ended up going for the warmest one just to be sure, and it ended up being way too warm. But then I was already on my way in the Amsterdam metro, on my way to Amsterdam Centraal. But luckily I got there in time for my train, and it was only a 1 hour and 10-minute ride to the first city of Deventer. The landscape of the Netherlands is not the most inspiring, but it's really fun to see how the landscape slightly gets more bushy and forested as you go into the east. I didn't really have a plan for visiting Deventer, but right when I got off the train, I was just immediately charmed by the city. There were so many little narrow streets that were decorated with colorful umbrellas, and I found some of the most amazing antique stores and a cool record store and had a lovely lunch. It just felt like one of the nicest cities I've ever been to in the country. After walking around some more in Deventer, I decided to visit De Waag, which is a 16th century weighing house, which has now been converted into a small museum. It wasn't too big, but still a really good visit. I also wandered into the Lebuinuskerk, which is a medieval church, and usually churches cost money to visit in the Netherlands, but this one was free, so that was a nice surprise. Deventer sits on the banks of the IJssel River, so I decided to take a €2 boat across the river. And I was really happy I did because the views were amazing. I've been spending a couple of hours now in Deventer, and it's really been one of the best days or day trips I've ever done. The thing which I really notice, and I mean Amsterdam, I love living there, I really love it, but the thing I miss sometimes is just the genuine interactions, having a chat with people, actually you know, genuine kindness. And I went to an antique store and a little bakery, and everybody just started chatting to me, and they were so friendly. Everybody was so interested and so just lovely, feeling welcome. And you just don't get that in Amsterdam. You just don't. And everybody here has been so kind, so kind. And yeah, it's really been good self-care being here for a little period. I just also don't feel self-conscious about filming because it's so quiet and I don't feel judged. I was imagining maybe to feel judged filming here because it's a smaller city, but I don't. And look where I am. It's just beautiful. So if you ever get the chance to explore a smaller city like Deventer in the Netherlands, just do that instead of spending all your time in Amsterdam or Utrecht or another bigger city, because these are this is where a lot of the culture is, and it's not the same culture. That's something I love about the Netherlands. It's such a small country, but it's so diverse. And I've been on the train for what, an hour and 10 minutes, and people here speak with a different accent, a different dialect, and I think that's really, really dope. So I just crossed with the boat. I just crossed the river. Behind me is Deventer, the city, as you can see. But on this side of the river, it's basically just farmlands. This bridge, which I'm walking on right now, is actually really famous because this is the bridge on which they shot a movie, which is really famous, called A Bridge Too Far, which is about the Second World War. And it's actually set in Arnhem, which is a city, I think, half an hour from here. But somehow they filmed it here in Deventer. So if this bridge looks familiar to you, that's why. After getting back on the bridge, I decided to walk around the bergkwartier, which is one of the most beautiful neighborhoods of Deventer, and after that I walked to the central station to catch my next train to Zutphen. Zutphen is quite a small city, but despite that it's actually one of the oldest cities in the Netherlands with a history that dates back to the Romans. It also has one of the best preserved medieval old towns in the Netherlands, and you'll find remnants of that throughout the city. You'll find pieces of the old city wall, old city gates, and little courtyards that just remind you of the rich history of this place. But despite all of that, it's such a quiet and quaint little city, and it's just really relaxing walking around here. But it's very small, so I got to see pretty much everything in 3 hours. And after visiting these two beautiful cities, it was time for me to make my way back to Amsterdam. If you want to see more adventures of me in the Netherlands, please subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one. Doei doei!